This week on Beacon Web News, Antoinette Webster catches the action on MCLA's spring season kickoff of Top Dog Underdog. Cara Fusco investigates the Hoosac Mill that is falling apart in North Adams. And with the coronavirus actively spreading nationwide, SimCare leads us in with a new story about the virus's impact on the canceled spring travel courses and the rest of the MCLA community.
But we're not going to tell the students they can't have 3 credits. They're 3 credits, and we're not going to tell them that they're out anymore.
That's all coming up next on Beacon Web News. Hello and welcome to the March 11th episode of Beacon Web News. I'm May Craig. An email sent out by President Burge on Tuesday the 10th stated that MCLA spring break will be extended by a week. Governor Baker has declared a state of emergency due to the coronavirus. This will give the college additional time to clean common areas and frequently touched surfaces. Students will not be allowed to remain in the resident areas. A petition will be available as of March 11th for those who must stay on campus due to extraordinary situations. Students may return to campus on Sunday, March 29th, and classes are scheduled to resume on Monday, March 30th. All MCLA sporting events that will be held up to March 30th have been canceled, according to Jeff Polari, Assistant Director of Athletics. At that time, they will reassess the situation, he said. City Councilor Jason LaForest has entered quarantine at his home on Tuesday after undergoing a test for the coronavirus. LaForest began experiencing mild flu-like symptoms Tuesday morning, which prompted the last test. Mayor Tom Bernard has decided to self-quarantine after attending social functions with the councilor this past weekend. On Wednesday, March 11th, the Office of Institutional Advancement will be hosting a no-stress networking event from 5:30 to 7 p.m. in the Feigenbaum Center for Science and Innovation. All MCLA students are invited to join staff and MCLA alumni for an interactive no-stress night of practice networking. There will also be free headshot photo sessions and one-on-one LinkedIn and resume review sessions. Visit the Women's Center table on March 11th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Campus Center Marketplace and write a letter to an important woman in your life, and they'll make sure your letter will be delivered. CESI has started a new success coaching program to help mentor students to help improve academic skills. I was able to sit down with Cindy McDonald to get more information on this new program. As of the spring of 2019, MCLA's Center for Student Engagement and Success has been running their Student Success Coaching Program. Assistant Director of Academic Support and Disability Resources, Cindy McDonald, fills us in on all the details behind the coaching program.
I was intrigued with some research that I had done on ways other colleges across the nation were providing support to students around persistence and retention. And I had seen information about different types of coaching programs that were cropping up on various campuses and thought it might be a possible venture for us here at MCLA to see if maybe success coaching would indeed make a difference for some of our students that were coming to MCLA and struggling. 3 monies that were provided to the college to support initiatives and projects such as that. And so I wrote an initiative for to look at supporting students with disabilities, students who were at risk of failing, students by their own admission thought they might benefit from additional supports and resources here at school. So it started as a very small project and served 12 or 15 students. And how that worked were those students were matched up with a coach, and they worked with a coach on a regular basis throughout the semester, and they worked on areas that academic areas that they needed some development or assistance with. Students coming to college, coming out of high school and coming to college often don't realize how different it is. And I think their first semester, they're taking a lot in, and living away from home for the first time, and all those challenges. And if academically, if they don't have good academic habits, those challenges can feel even harder, that transition.
How do students qualify for the program?
Coaches would do with students would ask them to complete a Lassie assessment, and that's a learning and study skill inventory that students would do, and that would give both the student and the coach an idea of where the weak areas were so that they could hone in on those particular skills. The students then at the end of the term took a post-Lassie, and we could compare the students where they were coming in to where they are standing in terms of academic preparedness at the end of the term. And so there was some real promising results around the impact that success coaching has on student success.
For Beacon Web News, I'm May Craig. If you want to change your room, RPS is giving you the chance to do a room change request. The form is due on April 6th at 4:30 p.m. and you can drop your form off at Townhouse 89. You'll have a chance to see live animals, including non-releasable animals from the Southern Vermont Natural History Museum. This event will be hosted by the Environmental Studies program on April 1st from 4 to 4:45 p.m. in the CSI building. MCLA's spring theater season kicks off with the Pulitzer Prize-winning play Top Dog Underdog, directed by visiting guest artists Rodney Creech and student John Archer Harvey. Here's Antoinette Webster with more on the story.
FPA did their first show of the semester called Top Dog Underdog, and let's just say it was definitely on top.
About two brothers, Lincoln and Booth, who deal with a lot of issues in their life. The play is about family. It's about dismantling the idea of the American dream and what the American dream means to all of us. Lincoln and Booth kind of fall through the cracks, because they deal with poverty, they deal with abandonment, they deal with a lot of issues that are relevant to people today, people who suffer these kinds of conditions.
My name is Neo Esteban, and I'm playing Link, in Top Dog Underdog. Brother to Booth. They both live in the Bronx in New York, very impoverished family though too. Those two are the only family that they have. He's the older brother, the top dog to Booth's underdog. He's constantly overshadowing anything that Booth does, which drives Booth into frustration throughout the show, and it's most of the internal conflict between the two characters in the show. So it really drives the action in the play for those two. Seeing Lincoln, there's a lot of struggle with the character. He suffers a lot. He's lost so much in his life, but his tenacity, his determination to keep going in life, it's very uplifting. It's sad in a way, to think about.
My name is Devin Gibbs. I play Booth. Booth is, he's a troubled individual. That's what I'm gonna say. His parents left him and his brother when they were real young. They've been growing up together, living together their whole lives, just trying to make it out, basically. Link has just moved back in with him because he's been thrown out by his ex-wife. We fell on some hard times, and we're in there struggling. Part of kind of that ideal of making out the struggle, except that in this case he has not and probably never will make it out of the struggle. So it's one of those things that kind of shows you the pervertedness of the American dream a little bit. There's a lot of pain there. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of hurt, and there's a lot of anger. So a little bit of me, I do see myself in there as a black man, yeah.
The FPA put a lot of work on set and off set to make this one top show. My name is Antoinette Webster, reporting from Beacon Web News.
The second movie in the global film series will be The Farewell. A family returns to China under the guise of a fake wedding to say goodbye to the grandmother, the only person who doesn't know she only has a few weeks left to live. The showing of The Farewell will be on Tuesday, April 14th at 6 p.m. in Sullivan Lounge. Snacks will be provided. Michael and Kitty Dukakis Public Policy Lecture Series will be holding a lecture featuring former U.S. Senator Jeff Flake. He has spent 2 decades on Capitol Hill and will be sharing insights into the current political climate. The lecture will be Thursday, April 23rd at the Church Street Auditorium starting at 7 p.m. This lecture will be free to the public. An abandoned mill in North Adams has been falling apart, causing unsafe walking areas for nearby residents. City Councilor Robert Mullen Jr. discusses how it was brought to his attention.
I brought this up because a friend of mine called me a couple months ago and said bricks had fallen on the road at nighttime. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I got back on the city council and I said, I'll bring that to the city council. So I did. I brought that to the city council at the first meeting, my first time back, and I thought it was a very simple open and shut case of close the sidewalk off. It's a public safety issue.
The City Council has not voted on his resolution yet. MCLA will be hosting their annual Hardman Journalists and Residents Lecture this month. Bob Davis is a senior editor at the Wall Street Journal, covers economic issues out of Washington, D.C., and focuses on the economic struggles between the United States and China. The lecture will be taking place on Monday, March 30th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Feigenbaum Center for Science and Innovation. This event is free to the public. MCLA basketball player Noah Yearsley was named to the All-MACSAC second team. Yearsley, a junior, led the Trailblazers in scoring with 15.4 points per game and was critical in helping MCLA reach the MACSAC semifinals. The 12th annual Little Sibs weekend will be April 3rd to April 5th. Little Sibs ages 8 to 17 are welcome to come spend the weekend on campus. Be sure to register at RPS in Townhouse 89 by Monday, March 23rd. There will be a $10 fee. All proceeds will go to benefit the On the Rise Scholarship. It is the last week before spring break, and on this week's episode of Wehry Weekly Entertainment News, Robert Wehry tells us some concerts you can see before leaving, as well as an art exhibit that is opening the weekend when students return.
Thanks, May. Welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly Entertainment News. It's the last week before spring break, and North Adams has multiple events going on this weekend before students head back home. In addition, students coming back early also can experience unique attractions. First, musician Trey Lamb will be returning to perform at Mass MoCA. She is a classically trained multi-instrumentalist known for her cinematic songs and ethereal vocals. She performed to a sellout crowd last February. Trey Lamb will be performing on Saturday, March 14th in Club B10 at approximately 8 p.m. Student tickets for the concert cost $15. Visit massmoca.org to purchase your tickets ahead of time. Mass MoCA will also be opening a new art exhibit. Kissing Through a Curtain deals with issues of translation and communication. There will be 10 featured artists, including Nazir Azalani, Kim Fowler, Justin Favela, Christine Sun Kim, Jessica Vaughn, and more. Kissing Through a Curtain opens on Saturday, March 21st. There will be a reception at Mass MoCA to celebrate its opening that day from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Student tickets to both the reception and the exhibit are free to MCLA students. The band Galvanizer will be performing at the High-Low Club. They are a rock band based out of Western Massachusetts, and they are a melting pot of many different genres, including psychedelic rock, funk music, surf rock, and dub music. Galvanizer will be performing at the High-Low on Friday, March 13th. The concert is scheduled to open at 8 p.m. Tickets for this event will be free to the public. Finally, the major movie debuting this weekend at the North Adams Movieplex is Bloodshot. This is the latest comic book adaptation to hit the big screen. This story is about a soldier who was brought back to life as a superhuman and wants to remember what happened to him. Bloodshot stars Vin Diesel, Liza Gonzalez, Michael Sheen, and Toby Cabell, and is directed by Dave Wilson. Bloodshot is scheduled to open on Friday, March 13th. Times for this movie have not been finalized. Bloodshot is rated PG-13 for some violence and language. That ends this week's episode of Wehry Weekly Entertainment News. I'll be back after spring break to discuss the many concerts, art exhibits, movies, and more going on in North Adams and surrounding towns. I hope everyone has a nice and safe break. Back over to you, May.
And here are your top stories from the latest edition of The Beacon. Fashion Club will be having their show this semester on March 28th at 8 p.m. in Bowman Hall on the second floor. MCLA received $400,000 to initiate a new radiology technology concentration within the health sciences major. The money came from the Skills Capital grant from the Baker administration, and the new program will begin fall 2020. A TED Talk inspired event, MCLA Talks, will be postponed. A date is yet to be determined. This event will give students an opportunity to share personal stories within the MCLA community. Erica Wall was hired in October to be the new director of Gallery 51. Since being hired, Wall has helped to bring back the importance of art and expression to the community. For more information on any of these stories, you can pick up your copy of The Beacon in many locations around campus or visit www.theonlinebeacon.com. A patient at the Berkshire Medical Center is being treated for the novel coronavirus, the first reported case in Western Massachusetts. According to the Chief Medical Director, Dr. James Lederer, Jr., the hospital was notified by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health that one of their patients tested positive for the virus. The patient is currently in a negative pressure room and is reportedly improving. Since the first reported case, there are now 5 cases in the Berkshires. All of MCLA's spring travel courses have been canceled due to the concerns with the coronavirus. Executive producer Sim Carr fills us in on what it means for the students.
MCLA has canceled all spring break travel programs due to concern about the spread of the COVID-19 virus. These trips included 3 travel programs going to Peru, Munich, and Japan, along with an alternative trip to Haiti. An email was sent out about the Japan trip being canceled on February 27th. On March 4th, another email was sent out by President Burge informing students that all travel courses had been canceled. This was a decision made by Governor Charlie Baker based on guidance from the CDC.
So I think before we made the choice, 3 of the other state universities had canceled all their trips, both domestic and foreign. So it's the thing that you worry about, even if you're not worried about getting sick. Because that was the thing, is like there are not a lot of reported cases in Peru, but you don't know what's reported and what's not. That's thing one. Thing two is if what we really worry about is if a student gets stuck or if a faculty member gets stuck in your quarantine and you have to quarantine in place for 2 weeks. How are you going to finish your classes? What can we do to help you finish your classes? That would be really, really difficult.
Decision started at the state level with a recommendation from Governor Baker, and then a conference call between the State Department of Public Health and the various state colleges and universities, and that really led to the decision to cancel. Some of the other state colleges had already done so. They've been keeping an eye on it here, and that call is really what sort of tipped the hand. Again, it's unfortunate, but I think ultimately it's the prudent call, especially since there's a high likelihood, less so of actually getting sick while over there, as opposed to dealing with a 14-day quarantine upon return.
But we're not going to tell those students they can't have 3 credits. They're 3 credits, and we're not going to tell them that they're out any money.
Yeah, at a general level, I really hope this doesn't have a long-term impact on our ability to have international travel as an institution. This is still going to be a 3-credit course, and so this involves updating some class content on my part. A little frustrating because of the new work that goes into that, but we'll look for ways to supplement some of the in-country experience with some new classroom content, new activities, in a way that makes sure that the academic credit students are getting and planning on for their graduation requirements aren't affected.
Even if nothing happened and it was fine, we get 1 case of coronavirus on campus and you don't know where it came from, people are going to look at this travel course first, whether it was or whether it wasn't, so there are liability issues on top of it.
First time I heard about it over the email, I was kind of in shock for a while, and I was like, this can't be happening. But I mean, I understand it's for the best, but it really does suck.
It was really disappointing when I found out that it was canceled because I'm a senior, so this was kind of my last shot at it.
Just overall, it's still a disappointment, but it's understandable based on the circumstances around the world, not just particularly Massachusetts, but all over.
I think MCLA has been pretty accommodating with it and stuff. I just hope that You know, they take in consideration that students are probably still going to be traveling over spring break, and that they don't hold any students back academically if they do get sick or something.
The CDC has more information on how to prevent the spread of illness, along with what symptoms to look for and what to do if you think you've contracted the coronavirus. You can learn more at cdc.gov/coronavirus. All students will be refunded the full amount for the trips. For Beacon Web News, I'm Sim Kerr.
RPS is hosting a bus trip to Boston for spring break. The bus will depart from MCLA on Friday, March 13th at 4 p.m. and will be leaving Alewife Station in Boston Sunday, March 29th to bring students back to campus. Early registration is suggested to guarantee a seat. A payment of $70 is due at the time registration is taken place. MCLA student Christian Womble was charged through a criminal complaint and investigation by campus police on March 6th. Womble's arraignment with Northern Berkshire District Court is scheduled for March 13th, and he has been placed on interim suspension and is banned from campus. On March 4th at approximately 4:10 p.m., Northern Berkshire EMS was called to help a child who was stuck over the embankment between Brayton Hill and Hoosac River with an injured ankle. North Adams Fire and police also responded to the call. The child did have serious injuries, but they will not be life-threatening. The child was transported to BMC North for treatment. A minor correction in this episode we mistakenly showed and said the NORAD mill was the mill that was falling apart. We meant to say that it's actually the Hoosac Mill on Right 2. That is the abandoned mill. That is it for this week. To stay up to date for BWN, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/MCLABWN. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.